Okay, so I'm trying to come up with a new OS for Taters Incorporated to make potato-based snacks and potatoes. Mini computers, and they missed their Windows XP upgrade. All the computers got 4 gigs of RAM. Runs on an i5. So Linux Mint is what I choose, and the reasons, quite simply, Windows 10 has security issues and it's proprietary. It's been known to be weak toward viruses. Hackers know how to get into Windows systems. It's the most common system. It's the most commonly targeted system. And it's very common. Any issues with Windows need to be corrected by Windows. There's no source. You can't see the source code. It's proprietary. So if there is an issue, you can't take any responsibility to fix it. You have to wait till Windows fixes it for you. So we went with Linux. Linux is probably the most common alternative to iOS and Windows. The other ones could be like FreeBSD. I'm not entirely sure what that would come up with, but that's what's used on PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. It's open source, which means bugs are found and relatively quickly. People can see the source code. It's free. It's considered much more secure than Windows by nature. Different desktop environments can be used and can keep running on older hardware as well. If something's taking too much space on the computer, you can downgrade to a lighter desktop environment. You can just go to just plain console if you want. So I picked Linux Mint because of the support. It is the second most common distro on DistroWatch right now, behind Manjaro. It means currently it is more popular than Ubuntu and Debian and Fedora, other very popular Linux Mint distros. It works out of the box. It has a lot of multimedia support and extremely easy to use. It's free of cost. It's open source, community driven, based on Debian and Ubuntu. It's got 30,000 packages and one of the best software managers. And it's safe and reliable. You don't need antivirus or anti-spyware. It requires very little maintenance, which is good for a company. So basically, when you switch to Linux, employees can't accidentally run an exe file and put a malware on the computer. It just won't run. Everything's managed through a software manager, which we can find here. So you just go here and you got accessories, fonts, games, graphics, internet, office, programming. We can come over here. We can see show installed applications. I got Audacity, Stellarium, Dropbox, Keepass 2, Spotify, Treeline, OBS Studio, and Clunky Clee. Haven't got around to that last one. Linux Mint 19 is what we have installed with Cinnamon. It'll be supported to 2023, a 5-year support cycle. It's a multi-user system. So I picked Cinnamon. All Linux Mint desktop environments, though, are easy to use from Windows. Doesn't matter which version of Linux Mint you are installed. Single bottom panel at the bottom with a menu, quick launch icons, system tray icons in the bottom right. It's meant to be an easy transition from Windows users. And go ahead and been using Windows for a while. This would be an easy transition. Nothing too alien at all. Other employees can manage and install programs if needed with permissions. OS does support a shared file from file server in the company. So with the users, we can make permissions where they can't install software anyways, but if they wanted to, it's fairly easy to do with the software manager. So first thing, we gotta explore the OS, give you a demonstration. We can add Desklets, and what I've already added so far is weather. It's default set for London because it's using BBC. Got a system tray monitor, and we got a clock. It's kind of nice to have a larger clock symbol than that tiny calendar in the bottom right. Yeah, that's a nice customization tool. So we'll explore the menu. Go to accessories. You have a calculator, which would be very useful. One of the first things to use on a computer is to use its calculator. Document viewer, you can view PDF files, which is very common. Image viewer, Keepass 2. It's my first thing to install. So Keepass. Oh, wrong password. Basically, it's a password manager. So say we're gonna make a new password, new database. We're gonna overwrite it. Make a password. All right. So what you do is we're going to add an entry. We're going to say it's a bank. User is user1. Plain text. REC has made its own password. We can change the hex key, get more complicated. Quality is in. If we have specific requirements, go to open password generator, uppercase, special characters. Underline, okay, and it's made us a password, which is quite complicated and fairly secure. Say okay. Now, copy username, copy password. It's encrypted in the file, and this file called new database KDBX can be transferred between computers. Secure password program. Yes. There is a password and keys automatically installed with Linux Mint. I'm unfamiliar with it. I prefer Keepass. That's what I've been using. Redshift if people are working overnight and don't want the computer keeping them up, but that's more useful for personal use. If you're staying up late at a computer. Might be useful for programmers if they want to have Linux Mint at home. Screenshot, this would be useful for, this is also default, tech support. Take a screenshot, cut it up, save it into pictures, and you can send that through email. Okay, next one is education. I have Stellarium. I have it installed as a demonstration, but it's not too useful for corporate. But I don't see it hurting anything. But we can customize as it is. We'll make a corporate field. Next is graphics. GNU image manipulation program. It's basically Windows Paint, but for Linux. Pix, simple scan. Sorry, I got a scan tool on there. For internet, I've installed Dropbox for group projects. I'm assuming people need to work together on things. Haven't really used Dropbox a lot, but I'm sure it can be used for group projects. Next, we have Firefox Web Browser. So this is the default web browser that comes with the program, but I have installed adblock and a privacy possum. So blocks tracking headers. Headers blocked from 6 sources. Adblock's going to block ads. This is going to make surfing the web way better. I have always used adblock. I always recommend adblock. And the privacy possum might keep corporate espionage from hurting the company, because of course corporate espionage is can really hurt companies if they track what everyone's doing on the web. That's just a possibility, though. It's just a quality of life thing. Don't exactly know how to demonstrate. I don't know any. I'm always have it on. So it says it's blocked 346 ads in total since I've installed it on the VM. So Yep. Next one we got under internet, we got Hex Chat. This is what makes Linux so cool, or at least Linux Mint. I am now in the Linux Mint help chat. So, come here and I can ask how to use Linux Mint, and they will help out whoever is there if we need any transition stuff. Next, it's Office. Alright, so it comes with the entire LibreOffice suite. You got LibreOffice database. Create a new database. That's pretty useful. Save. I don't know how to use a database program, but I'm sure people in the company definitely use databases. We've got LibreOffice Calc, which is spreadsheets, which are going to be very useful, similar to databases. You've got Draw. I don't know what Draw is. Impress. Create, edit drawings, flowcharts, logos used by Draw. Presentation slideshows. So that's your that's how you're gonna make slideshows. Math, scientific formulas, and writer. So I got a test document. We can standardize the. It's gonna be the most important program. We can standardize all documents. Currently, the default is Liberation Sheriff at 25. Font with double space. Margins are at 0.79 inches left, right, top, and bottom, with the first line indent of 2 characters. Yeah, so even though it's not Windows Office, we can standardize all the paperwork, and it will look professional. Still, that LibreOffice is the default program with Linux Mint, which is one of the reasons I decided. Programming, added programming. Eclipse, integrated development environment. Not sure. Yep, still not working. Anyways, for the programming, come to Software Manager. This is how we manage all the programs. Programming tab. Here is whatever programming that department could ever want for. Is there a programming department? No, there's just IT. Okay. After that, we got sound and video. I've installed Audacity. That's just free-to-wear recording program, text manipulation, sound manipulation. So we'll come over here. We'll generate silence for 10 minutes. Wham! 10 minutes silence. Recording now. It's got my voice. Stop. We'll try it right here. Oh, it's still going. Nice. There we go. I think I was playing it backwards. Anyways, so you can record meetings and stuff and save it for later. Don't know what it could be used for. Kind of harmless, though, to have around. Nope, let's not save that. Next one we got is Media Player. That's how you can play movies. Might have some corporate training videos. OBS Studio. This is something I'm using right now to record the video. Basically, you can use this to record something going wrong, and you can send it to IT. Come over to File, Settings, Video. Where are we going? Advanced Stream. Output, recording path, user 1. Put on user 1, videos, open. Okay. Start recording. I could have an issue. I could talk to tech support. And send it to them, and they could help me out. Still on sound. I got Rhythm Box, which collects whatever music you got. We can get rid of that for the corporate feel. I got Spotify for radio. I'm going to assume the company is cool with people playing Spotify. radio if it's not disturbing the work at all. You know, we can monitor people, and you know. And then VOC Player, it's just another program. That's what I prefer to watch videos. It's free. In the admin panel is where any administration can do stuff. We've got Time Shift as a restore. We got Software Manager, and we got a backup tool. Very important. I'm assuming that we're going to standardize this. I could deploy one version on all the computers, or we can even specialize it for each department. Software Manager, it's all managed with Ubuntu and Debian, and everything's already saved. People are not going to be installing programs to get things done. They could just surf the Software Manager for something that they need to do, and you could either lock them out from installing programs, or you can let them at it and just monitor your employees to make sure they're not doing anything they shouldn't do at work. Got VirtualBox. Put a virtual machine inside of a virtual machine. And system settings, preferences. You know, we can date and time, Desklets, desktop, mounted volumes. We got network. Add the trash can. If you want to change the background, just go change desktop background. Plenty of stuff. Linux Mint. I think I've installed these two. I'm not sure if that's original or not, but yeah, you can easily get customized desktop backgrounds. I usually prefer the simple, just simple Linux Mint. So, downsides. People using Windows may not be familiar with all the alternative programs. If you've been relying on Windows Office, switching to Libreoffice might be different. Libreoffice Writer. They are very similar, but they are different. You have to sign on online to Google Drive and OneDrive for cloud storage. So if you have stuff on Google Drive, I could not find it in the software manager. So Google Earth, Android Studio. I'm sure you can find a way to do so, but it just seemed Drive. Let's see if we can. Yeah, I wasn't able to queue access for Google Drive. Couldn't find it. OneDrive. I couldn't get it to work. There's 0 reviews. It's not well known. Not using Microsoft Office. You might have to use alternative programs for databasing. It's going to take a learning curve. But as long as we have standardization, as long as the entire company is doing it their way, it's not going to be a huge problem. So that's my proposal, to flip Windows 10 to Linux Mint in the company. We can further chisel it down to either department-specific versions, or we can just deploy one for the entire company. I'm sure there can be a administration. Oh yeah, I did forget emails. So we'll be using Mozilla Thunderbird for email. Yeah. That's already pre-installed. You also got transmission, which is good for torrents. You can go ahead and load it up with Linux distros and share them around. Anything else? There's also a antivirus, update manager. Easy to keep your computer up to date. There's a firewall and admin. Right, where is the firewall? Is it, or is it under preferences? Firewall configuration. So, yep, we can see what each application, what port they're using, how they're communicating. anyways, it's got everything you could want. It's supposed to be the most user friendly computer interface, especially transition from Windows to Linux. Very nice. System. It's just great. It's what I use. It's what I used on my netbook for quite a long time. But I switched to Ubuntu because it's still, the new versions take up a decent amount of gigabytes, and my netbook's only got 2 gigs of RAM. Anyways, thanks. That's my presentation.